Imagine a vast and turbulent ocean, its surface whipped into a frenzy by relentless winds and crashing waves. Each insult, each act of disrespect hurled your way is like another gust of wind, another violent surge threatening to capsize your inner peace and drag you down into the depths of emotional turmoil. Your natural inclination, honed by years of societal conditioning and primal instinct, might be to fight back against the storm, to meet the aggression with equal or greater force, to shout louder than the howling winds in a desperate attempt to assert yourself and quell the tempest. You might feel an immediate surge of adrenaline, a burning indignation that demands expression, a fierce desire to defend your honor, your worth, your very being against the perceived attack. Words might rush to your tongue, sharp and stinging, fueled by anger and hurt, each syllable intended to pierce the armor of the offender and inflict a similar wound. You might engage in lengthy arguments, trying to reason with someone who may be unwilling or unable to listen, expending precious energy in a futile attempt to change their perspective or elicit an apology that may never come. You might replay the hurtful words in your mind over and over again, each repetition deepening the grooves of resentment and allowing the negativity to fester and consume your thoughts. This reactive cycle, while seemingly natural, often leaves you feeling depleted, emotionally exhausted, and further entangled in the web of negativity. The storm outside may eventually subside, but the internal tempest you've ignited can linger for hours, days, even years, poisoning your relationships, clouding your judgment, and eroding your overall well-being. But what if there exists another way to navigate these turbulent waters, a path not of forceful resistance, but of profound inner stillness? What if true power lies not in the tempestuous response, but in the unwavering calm at the center of the storm? What if the most potent and effective answer to disrespect isn't a reflexive outburst, but a deliberate and conscious choice to remain silent, to cultivate an inner sanctuary that remains untouched by the external chaos? This isn't a call for passive acceptance or the suppression of legitimate emotions. Rather, it is an invitation to explore the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that offers us a radical and transformative approach to dealing with adversity, particularly the sting of disrespect. Stoicism teaches us that while we have limited or no control over the actions and words of others, we possess absolute and unyielding dominion over our own thoughts, our judgments, and our reactions. To choose silence in the face of disrespect is not an act of weakness or submission, but a powerful and conscious assertion of this inner sovereignty. It is a deliberate refusal to be drawn into a battle on someone else's terms, a strategic decision to conserve your precious mental and emotional energy, and a profound statement that your inner peace and self-respect are far more valuable than the fleeting and often Pyrrhic victory of a sharp retort. Imagine a mighty oak tree standing firm against a raging storm. The winds may howl, the branches may sway, but the trunk remains rooted and unyielding. The tree doesn't try to fight the wind. It bends where it must, but its core strength remains untouched. Similarly, Stoic silence allows you to be like that oak tree, unperturbed at your center despite the external turbulence. It's about cultivating an inner fortitude that allows the words of others to pass by like the wind, without taking root and causing lasting damage. This isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about acknowledging them without allowing them to dictate your actions. You can feel the sting of the insult, recognize the urge to retaliate, but then consciously choose a different path, a path of mindful non-engagement. This pause, this space between the insult and your response, is where your true power opportunity resides. To choose the reason over reaction, wisdom over impulse, and inner peace over external validation. Think about the impact of silence in various contexts. In a heated argument, A sudden silence can often be more disarming than any shouted word. It can force the other person to confront their own aggression, to recognize the imbalance in the interaction. It can create a vacuum that demands reflection, a space where the intensity of the moment begins to dissipate. Similarly, in the face of a blatant insult, a dignified silence can convey a profound sense of self-respect and disdain for the negativity being directed at you. It suggests that you consider the words unworthy of a response, that you are operating on a different plane of emotional maturity. This isn't about being aloof or arrogant. It's about recognizing the futility of engaging with negativity on its own terms. It's about understanding that sometimes the most powerful statement is no statement at all. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle lies at the heart of the Stoic approach to disrespect. We cannot always control the words or actions of others, but we have absolute control over our interpretations and our responses. Someone may call you names, spread rumors about you, or treat you with disrespect. These actions are outside of your direct control. However, you can choose how you internalize these actions, whether you allow them to define your self-worth and how you ultimately respond. Stoicism encourages us to examine the judgments we attach to the disrespectful behavior. Is their opinion truly a reflection of your value? Is their anger something you need to absorb and internalize? Often, disrespectful behavior stems from the other person's own insecurities, frustrations, or flawed perspectives. Their words are a reflection of their inner state, not necessarily a valid assessment of you. By recognizing this, you can begin to detach yourself emotionally from their negativity. Marcus Aurelius, another prominent Stoic philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "If someone criticizes you and you feel offended, then it seems you agree with them." This powerful statement highlights the role our own judgments play in how we experience disrespect. If we are secure in our own self-worth and have a clear understanding of our values, then the negative opinions of others are less likely to penetrate and wound us. Their words become mere noise, external disturbances that do not shake our inner foundation. Embracing Stoic silence isn't about becoming emotionless or indifferent. It's about cultivating a mindful awareness of your emotions and choosing a response that aligns with your values and promotes your long-term well-being. You might feel anger, hurt, or frustration, and acknowledging these feelings is important. However, Stoicism encourages you to process these emotions without immediately acting upon them in a reactive or destructive way. Take a breath, create that space between the stimulus and your response, and ask yourself, what is the wisest and most effective way to handle this situation? Will engaging in an argument escalate the conflict and further drain my energy? Will lashing out make me feel better in the long run, or will it leave me with regret? Often the answer to these questions points towards the power of silence. Silence can be a powerful tool for de-escalation. When someone is being aggressive or disrespectful, responding with silence can often take the wind out of their sails. They may be expecting a defensive reaction, an angry outburst, or an attempt to argue. When they are met with calm silence, it can disrupt their expectations and force them to confront their own behavior. It can also prevent the situation from spiraling into a full-blown conflict. Furthermore, silence can be a form of self-protection. By refusing to engage with negativity, you shield yourself from its harmful effects. You conserve your mental and emotional energy, preventing yourself from being dragged down into the other person's negativity. This allows you to maintain your clarity of thought and respond more effectively if and when a response is truly necessary and constructive. It's important to distinguish between strategic silence and passive avoidance. Stoics, silence is not about ignoring the issue or pretending that the disrespect didn't happen. It's a conscious choice of how and when to respond, often opting for non-verbal communication or a delayed and carefully considered response rather than an immediate reaction. There may be times when a direct and assertive response is necessary to set boundaries and address the disrespectful behavior. However, even in these situations, a Stoic approach emphasizes clarity, reason, and a focus on what you can control, your own words and actions, rather than getting caught up in emotional reactivity. Cultivating the ability to choose silence in the face of disrespect is a practice that requires patience and self-awareness. It's not something that happens overnight. You might find yourself instinctively reacting in old patterns, but with conscious effort, you can begin to create that space for thoughtful response. Pay attention to your triggers, the situations and types of disrespect that tend to elicit the strongest emotional reactions in you. Practice pausing before you speak, taking a deep breath, and observing your emotions without judgment. Ask yourself what your goals are in this interaction. Are you trying to win an argument, to make the other person feel bad, or to find a constructive resolution? Often, the goal that aligns with Stoic principles is to protect your inner peace and maintain your integrity. As you practice this, you will likely find that the urge to react impulsively diminishes. You will become more adept at observing the situation with a sense of detachment, allowing you to choose a response that is more aligned with your values and your long-term well-being. The power of Stoic silence extends beyond immediate interactions. It can also help you to process past instances of disrespect. Instead of dwelling on the hurtful words and replaying them in your mind, Stoicism encourages you to examine your judgments about the situation. Can you reframe the event in a way that reduces its emotional impact? Can you learn from the experience without allowing it to define you? By practicing mental resilience and focusing on what you can control, your present thoughts and actions, you can liberate yourself from the lingering effects of past disrespect. In a world that often glorifies reactivity and encourages immediate and often emotional responses, the Stoic principle of embracing silence in the face of disrespect offers a powerful alternative. It's a path towards greater inner peace, stronger self-control, and more meaningful interactions. It's about recognizing that true strength lies not in the volume of your voice or the sharpness of your words, but in the quiet command of your own being. Embrace this Stoic wisdom and discover the profound power that resides in the conscious choice to remain silent, to observe with clarity, and to respond with intention, always prioritizing your inner peace and unwavering self-respect in the face of external negativity. This is not about being weak, it is about wielding a strength that transcends the need for immediate validation or reactive defense. It is about cultivating a resilient inner core that remains unshaken by the storms of disrespect, allowing you to navigate the complexities of human interaction with grace, dignity, and profound inner peace.